Recently, I was a little curious, so I did some research to find out how long an average D&D session or TTRPG session would go, and I found very quickly that most players do about 4 to 6 hours, which came to a surprise to me because ours go about 10 hours, and I'm running these 10-hour sessions, and I've DM'd for 4-hour, 6-hour sessions before, and I've done a lot of 10-hour sessions, and I will always take the 10-hour sessions over the 4-hour sessions, and I think you should too. Hi, I'm Ryan, and when I'm not enjoying other TTRPGs, I'm also the lead designer of Ethereal here at Cryptids. And in fact, our quick guide is now available for free on our Discord, so make sure to check the link in the description below to find out how to access it. But today we're not going to talk about Ethereal. We're here to talk about how I run longer sessions for my table that span up to 10 hours long sometimes, and walk away with productive sessions and a voice still afterwards. And obviously at the end of the day, this is just a game, so you could follow nothing in this video, and I'm sure you'd run super long sessions, but both you and your players will likely feel strained if you don't go in with certain expectations. First off, I should say I don't recommend doing this if you're a new DM. You should definitely run a few 3 to 4 hour sessions first to kind of get the feel for it, get the vibe for it, before you try to go into longer sort of 10-hour, 9+ hour sessions. And also, don't treat a 10-hour session as just a double session. It feels a lot longer than that. It could feel 2.5, 3 times even, just the amount of strain and amount of mental work that you have to put into one of these longer sessions. But the benefits of running these long sessions is beautiful. When done properly, it creates this very tight narrative and everyone falls heavily in. There's no weak break in between where players need to scramble to find notes or remember who they spoke to last. It's happening live, allowing the session to be productive, but allow breathing room for more RP, banter, and shenanigans without feeling like they're eating into a limited amount of time to get to the main plot. And there's a huge reason that these types of longer sessions also benefit my table and possibly yours. We're only able to play once a month, every month and a half if we're lucky. So that's the main reason that these 10-hour sessions even came to light, is we said, well, what if we just run a double session essentially? We cram 10 hours of D&D in together. And this is something we've been doing for years now. I've been DMing these 10-hour sessions for about 5 years, and trust me, it takes some practice, but when properly done, these long sessions just hit such a great itch of D&D. So you're on board, great. So how do you prepare for something like this? I'm going to knock the most obvious one off the list first, and that's hydration. Sure, drinking alcohol is great, lightens up the mood a little bit, might make you feel a little bit more comfortable, but at the end of the day, you're going to be putting a heavy strain on your voice for going 10 hours, and hydration is key. Like, it's not even just a meme. Like, make sure to drink plenty of water before, during, and after the sessions. Also, before you get started, I heavily recommend you do a couple of vocal exercises. Make sure you've talked a little bit beforehand, get your throat warmed up so you're not straining your voice too much, and so you have a voice for work the next day. Next tip is allow for breaks in the session. This is going to prevent burnout, give players a moment to relish in the scene, and even give a chance for you to prep for something to come, which I'm going to circle back to shortly. For my group, we often do 2 10-minute breaks throughout, with intervals usually being when people need to do a quick stretch or when there's a good scene that offers a moment's lull. The other break is the larger one, and that's where we take a dinner break, where we step away to eat the food that we ordered. Admittedly though, sometimes when things are going really well, we continue to eat while I play, but that always depends on how we're feeling. Generally, I try to not encourage us eating while we're playing, because it gives me a small mental break and it gives me a chance to kind of think things over. Now, what about preparing for these super long sessions? 10 hours probably sounds like a lot of paper, prep, and many ways for things to go sideways, right? Yeah, but it doesn't have to be. My sessions used to require about 12 pages of prep notes, but as of late I brought down to actually only 1 or 2 pages, and those pages are mostly actually just the recap from the previous session. So when you're doing these longer sessions, how you get there is you're going to be flexing and relying a lot more on improv skills. And I know that sounds daunting, but the more you do it, trust me, it's the more comfortable you get. You don't need to move down to 2 pages overnight. Every session, cut back a little bit more. Try to remove a few paragraphs. Eventually, you will bring it down to just a handful of pages. In fact, leave your DM notes as broad strokes. Focus on the key story elements or crucial encounters. Have separate pages on your lore of your world and towns and NPCs ready to go that carry over between sessions. I have a giant binder always ready that I prepped a long time ago. This actually has cut down my amount of prep time from needing about 6 to 8 hours of prep time to only like about 1.5 hours to 2 hours for most sessions. That way you don't need to prep for the many hours every time. Just have it ready. Now, an important part about your storytelling here is you gotta be flexible with the story beats, keeping elements open and loose so when players throw your plans to the side, you can remold it on the fly. And that's when the breaks come in handy. Call a break if you need to rethink things, quickly jotting down ideas, or when your players have really thrown you off the rails, which has happened to me, and you feel like you really don't know what to do. My favorite thing to do during a dinner break is don't say anything. Just eat your food, sit there, listen to your players talk about what is happening. They're gonna likely be tossing out theories and ideas and possible directions where things might go, and this is a gold mine for planning. Obviously, you don't need to, or even take every idea they spout, but filter down these ideas and keep them at the back of your head and maybe write them down and let them do half the work for you, because sometimes the players have better ideas than the DMs, or they kind of drive inspiration. And I've had a lot of the ideas come from my players and they don't even realize it. And if you guys are watching this, well, thanks for giving me all those great ideas. From a storytelling perspective, by having such a great length of time of 10 hours, you have the luxury to weave in and out of stories. Don't blast through a single story arc so fast. Leave hints and breadcrumbs for possible future narratives. In most of my sessions, I will have an arc focused on one character for about 50-60% of it, the other 50% then being nods to other characters, stories, fun little side quests, or just things that might be far down the road. This gives the players the chance to RP, develop bonds, and not worry about needing to hit certain narrative beats in one night, and more importantly, neither do you. Outside of prepping and playing yourself for a long session, prepping your players for a longer session is just as important as yourself. Make sure everyone is on board with it and they know that it's going to be a day dedicated to it. I know scheduling is a pain, and we have that in our group as well, but I think that's something everyone can relate to. But we've come to a very elegant solution that works for our group, and I'm going to share it here, and I hope it works for yours. In our group chat, I will put up a poll with a multitude of weekends and give the group 2 weeks to vote for the preferred dates, telling them when the lock-in date is. Once that lock-in date happens, votes are final, and they are expected to be available for the date that they voted for if it's the majority. Majority vote wins, unless the player wasn't able to make it last session. Their vote then counts as an extra vote for this one. As long as 3 out of the 5 players are free, we run the session and then we will often include a guest to fill in one space. This ensures that the game runs frequently and everyone understands the importance of being there. I also make sure that the stories I'm telling can easily let players come and go freely and doesn't rely on them being there. Everyone wants to be there, and I understand that, and sometimes life gets in the way. Also, make sure your players know that it's impossible for you to prep every situation, and this will definitely be helpful when you're still getting used to improv. Don't highlight the moments in the game when you need to improv or might remove the illusion, but as long as they understand that 10 hours of prepping for every possible outcome is difficult, they'll understand and possibly even ensure that they aren't doing anything too outlandish, or at least taking things slow, or understand if you need a minute to kind of step away and replan things. One of the last parts of running a long session is the aftermath. The moment the light switch flicks off and your brain is drained. First off, if you have the luxury of doing this in your own place, I don't recommend cleaning up. You're gonna feel wiped, go lie down for a moment and catch your breath and thoughts. Take a notepad when you have a moment and write down any final important notes from the end of the session, and if you need to, remember to pick off anywhere specifically. Do it while it's fresh in your head, and don't wait too long, because you might forget in the morning. Then, as I said at the beginning, drink more water, and honestly, then go drink more water. And then from there, go watch a show to reset your brain or go to bed. Doing 10 hours of improv is exhausting and take its toll, but the reward is fantastic when you see the stories told, the moments had together. Give it a try. See if your players want to experience the game differently, and let me know how it goes. See you next time.